You saw it. So, Dylan, I showed you 4 cards, right? So here's what you didn't see. Here's what you didn't notice. So while I was showing everybody like this, what I was doing is I was shifting the deck. I was going like this, and then giving you not the card from the bottom, but the next card on top. So in your mind, what's that? He didn't see that. You didn't see that. Everybody else should have seen it, because I was doing the trick, the shift, right in front of your faces, right? And over again, I can just continue giving you cards from the bottom, but I'm not really giving you the cards from the bottom. So why am I showing you this? Because effective communication is exactly this. A lot of the times when you're communicating with people, you think that there's 2 parts to this. And the 2 parts are very, very simple. You think there's a sender and you think there's a receiver. When you're talking to somebody, in your mind, you are communicating with them, and in your mind, they are listening to you. However, if you are not careful, exactly what happened here, there is a miscommunication, there's a trick that takes place, that there's actually a 3rd component, which is called perspective. Perspective is key to communication effectively. All right, so when it comes to perspective, that's the key to being an effective communicator. Here's what happens. Part of being perspective is having curiosity and being aware of what you're saying and what you are hearing. A lot of the times when we speak and a lot of times when we communicate, we don't say what we're meant to say. We don't say what we mean to say. And sometimes we hear what you're not supposed to be hearing. Let me paint it like this, okay? Word inflection. Have you ever heard of this before? Word inflection? No, never? First time? Okay, word inflection. This is when you emphasize like a different letter to mean a different thing. For example, what is this? I didn't steal the money. What does that mean? Simple. I didn't take the money. I didn't steal the money, right? I didn't steal the money. What happens if I fluctuate the I and I say, I didn't steal the money? What does that mean? It wasn't you that stole it. It was somebody else that stole it, right? You're innocent. So it means, it implies that the speaker did not steal the money. It wasn't the person. I didn't steal the money. If you say, I did not steal the money. I did not steal the money. What does that mean? I'm letting you know, hey, there's frustration there. I did not take the money, right? I'm implying that I emphatically did not take the money. I am focusing, this is the guns that I'm sticking to. What if I say, I didn't steal the money? I may have bored it, right? I didn't steal the money. Okay, great. It implies that the speaker did not take the money, but may have done something else with it. Good. I didn't steal the money, my man. That's right. That's exactly it. It implies that the speaker did not take the specific money in question. I probably stole something else. Okay? What if I say, I didn't steal the money? I didn't steal the money. Yeah? I probably stole something else, right? It implies that the speaker did not take the money, but may have taken something else. I didn't steal the money, right? And so same sentence, but the minute you inflectuate a different word, the minute you emphasize a different word, it means something completely different. And this is where effective communication comes in, because you're trying to say something, and if you're not careful, you might inflectuate the wrong word, and the person who's hearing you, they in their ears might be inflectuating their wrong word, because based on trauma, based on experience, based on history with you, based on history with the company. And so you're saying something, but it's not what you're saying. They're hearing something else, and then that miscommunication kicks in. And that's where perspective comes in. And perspective, we've coined it, we framed it as leak. It is beyond important for you to learn this, I'm telling you right now, not just for work, but for life. Family, school, life, work, like it doesn't matter where you are, leak is going to save relationships. Okay? The fun thing about leak is that when I teach this to elementary students, they get excited because of the word leak, period, right? So one thing that I always tell them is that if you're ever in a conflict, if you're ever trying to communicate, ask yourself, have you taken a leak yet? Have you taken your leak? I know, it sounds funny. I know, it sounds weird. Like going to the bathroom, that's what it's supposed to sound like, right? Because if it's catching your mind, it triggers and whatever, and the minute you are in conflict, the minute you're communicating, in your mind is like, where in leak am I? Have I taken my leak? Okay? So, we're gonna go one by one. What do these mean? And then you're gonna tell me how you can use them in your own workplace. Now that I know where you are, we're gonna go through leak, and you're gonna tell me how to, or why would you use the specific leak in your career choices. So the first one, L stands for listening. Okay? I don't know if you've ever been a part of that conversation where you're talking to somebody and they're just like, they cannot wait until you're done so that they can say their piece. They're not listening to you and you feel upset. It angers you even more that you know that they're not listening. So with listening, just stay calm, listen, calm down, ask, done whatever, and then just ask yourself, what are they really trying to say, right? How can this be important in the workforce? That's it. The more you listen, the more knowledge you acquire. And the more knowledge you acquire, the better decisions that you're gonna make. The more information you're acquiring, right? It allows you to, it sets you up for success for the future, right? There's a lady, a CEO, before we get to both of your answers, there was a lady, a CEO, and she climbed up the ranks. And there was an interview that asked her, how did you do it? Like there's this in this industry, in your building, in your department, there's a sea of men. How in the world did you get to become the CEO? And she goes, I made a lot of correct decisions. And then the interviewer was like, well, how did you learn how to make all these correct decisions? And she said, I learned because I made a lot of wrong ones. So you learn in two ways, by doing or listening, like experiencing, witnessing. So if you're listening, if you get good at listening, there are chances are for you to making that mistake yourself decreases. So you acquire more information, right? And you get this knowledge. You start to learn from people. You start to learn from things and you start making better decisions. So good job. Yes, amazing. All right, so what does L stand for? Listen. What does E stand for? It is empathy. Who can read that for me? Yeah, perfect. Empathy, huge. Empathy, huge. Now, putting yourself in the other person's position, does that mean fully understanding what they're going through? Yeah, it's huge, right? It's huge. And I want to tell you, when my father passed away 6 years ago, okay? And so when my friend's father, my best friend from high school, his father passed away first. When that happened, I was there for him. Hey, are you okay? How can I help? And I was trying to be empathetic. Didn't really understand with what he was going through because I still have my father. I love this man. Like I remember sleeping over at my friend's house and Saturday mornings, he would cook us all breakfast, right? Great man, great friend, whatever. He passed away, felt sorry for him, mourned with him and all was great. Then about 2-3 years later, my father passed away. And then he was able to comfort me on a different level because he had gone through it now. So it was very interesting that we were both there for each other. His comforting to me was completely different than how I did it to him, but there was no wrong or right one. I was still being able to be there because somehow I was able to be empathetic. And even though I didn't fully understand with what he went through, I was still there for him, right? So yes, putting yourself in the other person's position, it opens up doors. It helps a lot. Separating yourself from intent, from intone. So what are they trying to say versus what they're actually saying? Again, word and fluctuations, right? You got to be mindful and ask yourself at the end of the day, how do I feel or how would I feel in their situation? A is accept the fact that you might be wrong. In other words, be humble. Be humble. Okay, who wants to read that for me? Sometimes that title gets to your head, right? You were going to say? It's okay. So why is this important in the workforce? Don't allow your titles interrupt with human decency. So when you are in this position, exactly what you say, if you're going around all this time, if you're able to be a paramedic, if you're able to be a lawyer, all these different things, and you walk around with a chip on your shoulder, it is going to ruin relationships, right? So do not allow titles to destroy how effectively you communicate with people. Accept that fact that, you know what, I might be wrong here, right? It opens up so many doors. Perfect. And this is my favorite one, communication, all right? Who can read that for me? Amazing, right? Speak clearly, directly, and respectfully. Worst thing that you can do if somebody's not understanding you, oh my gosh, I can't even begin to tell you how wrong what I'm about to tell you is. Don't do it. If somebody's not understanding you, the worst thing that you can do to any human being is talk slower and increase your voice. If I tell you, all right, this remote control is black, and you're like, I don't get it. Like this control is black, and you're like, I don't understand. This controller is black. What I'm telling you is you're dumb. That's what I'm saying. By me slowing it down and speaking louder, I don't respect you as a human. So I have to dumb it down for you. And don't do that. The magic trick that we just did, right? 2 things needed to happen for, not Austin, Dylan. For Dylan to see the trick. I either have to shift his body or I had to shift myself. I couldn't, if I continue, you didn't see the trick? What are you talking about? Let me do the trick again. And he doesn't see it, the shift of the hands, then he's never gonna get it. He's never gonna understand. So I either had to shift Dylan's body or I have to shift what I'm saying. And that is part of communication. If what you are saying they're not understanding, is not that they're slower than you or dumber or nothing like that. Respect is all it means is that maybe they don't have, their colors are different, or maybe they don't understand. Figure out a different way to say the exact same thing, but in a different way, different words, different tonality. Does that make sense? Communication is all about respect. It's not about convincing. It's about hopefully finding a different way for them to see your point of view. The third one is compromise. Who can read that for me? Okay, great. So maybe the person in their country, this is a different color. Maybe it's not black, maybe this is green. Right? If I'm trying to, what's more important here? Convincing them or teaching them that this is a remote control or the color of the remote control, right? So, okay, great. You don't understand it's black, but do you know that this is a remote control? Oh, no, what is that? Well, it shifts the slides forwards and whatever. Oh, okay, I've never seen them before. Great. Now, a lot of the times what ends up happening is in communication or in conflict resolution, you're here and you're trying to get somebody on your side. Meanwhile, the other person is doing the exact same thing. At the end of the day, if you can just meet in the middle and agree on something, you will have won. You will have won the conversation. You would have succeeded in what you're trying to accomplish. Why is this important in the workforce? Yeah.
It makes better for relationships.
Huge, absolutely. What's your name?
Ashira.
Ashira, absolutely huge. When you are trying to convince somebody, in your mind there's a refusal to move on until you can see what I'm seeing, right? And I'm not moving. We're not moving on with this project until you agree with me. And the other person's thinking the exact same thing, so productivity just goes down the drain. However, if you can just agree, listen, you have your point of view, I have my own point of view. Can we agree on this middle point? I'm like, yeah, we can agree. The tone changes, the atmosphere changes, the energy changes, and now you can start moving towards progression. Do you understand? So here's what's gonna happen.
Hey everyone, listen, Coach DJ here. Listen, I'm actually currently editing this video right now. I just wanted to interrupt and stop the video right here and say, if you want to read these case studies and if you want to practice with Leak, go ahead, shoot the MTClife official page on Instagram a DM and we will send it right over to you. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Instagram handle in the description of this video. We love you to the moon back. Have an amazing day. Peace out, y'all. Bye.